So, welcome to the SOFest debrief. So good to see so many of you and lots of familiar faces and some new ones. There are there's a few note takers. I've just not let them in. One hasn't even got a person associated to it. And Murray, I've not let yours in. I don't think you need it, Murray, really, do you?
Quite honestly, I didn't know.
Does it
joined
just follow
automatic.
you?
Yeah,
Sorry if you're watching this back
follows
on
me
YouTube.
around.
We're just talking about note takers following people around. So, as with all SOF events, we're going to start with a poem and a bit of a time to arrive. So, this is your invitation to sit back, close your eyes. There's a short poem from Donna Ashworth's book, Wild Hope, and it's Threads from Heaven. I see you look to the sky as you think of your loved ones, and I believe there is much power in the act. For at least 1 million others are looking right now too. And that collective power of loss of love is a wonderful thing to imagine. Imagine with me now, my friends, 1 million people with hearts radiating upwards, sending so much love, and 1 million souls radiating love right back in response. Invisible, magical threads of love woven all across the planet, threads from heaven. Just going to take a minute now of silence. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Take another really deep breath, the deepest one you've taken all of today. And just wiggle yourself back into the room. A little stretch for those of you who are in the UK, a bit warm. Ravi's just chuckling. He's in India just going, what are you lot moaning about? Ebony's back in Spain just going, you have no idea what hot is. So it's good to see you. Many of you were with us in the physical field, and I think some of you were unable to join us and are curious to see what came up and came out. Unusually for me, I've actually got a slide deck because that's the only way I can really present the information and share what came up and some of the thoughts. My encouragement is feel free to ask questions. There'll be some obvious points where there's questions. So drop them in the chat, and then I'll keep coming off slides as well so we can have a conversation. Just so you all know as well, this is being recorded and we're going to share it with the community again. It'll get listed on YouTube, but it's unlisted. So it's not like every man and his bloody dog can watch it. It's only people that we deem suitable viewers of the SOF family. Before I start, any questions, any comments? Anyone bubbling with something they'd like to put in the room? Oh, good. Right. There's just chat about note takers just appearing into meetings that they weren't even invited to, which I think is bloody hilarious. Okay, so for those of you who can remember back, we were together on the 10th, 11th and 12th of June in Essex. And now when you see, those of you who are there, now when you see these images, you're like, oh yeah, I can picture what we experienced. Just to remind everybody, what is SOFest? It's a 3-day, 2-night festival for facilitators, trainers and coaches to connect, learn and share. It's hosted at a beautiful venue called Chalkney Water Meadows in Essex, about 60 minutes from London. And those dates were, as you can see, who came. There were 80 of us, facilitators, trainers. There were, in that 80, there were 9 speakers, and the speakers were invited to talk on one of 3 topics: facilitation itself, the business of running your own facilitation or training business, or you. Every day there was something that happened in the morning, whether that was yoga, that was silent disco with some very energetic dancing by some. There were afternoon activities that sort of yoga nidras, sound baths, full moon ceremonies, singing with tabs, singing to each other in the queue for an ice cream, which will always be a good memory. And then we had the workshops. We had 15 different workshops and 4 different learning zones. So the learning zones were the business lab, client corner, heart center, and the playground. So that was sort of the structure of what went on, so that everybody can get a better picture. Now, what I'm going to show in the debrief is feedback from the participants, so people who gave us feedback, and then I'm going to do some stuff on the finances and then look towards 2026. Okay. I've just got all the photos back as well, so they will be interdispersed in this slide deck because they are bloody awesome, and I want to share those with you. So as you can see, we had 80 people attend, 35 gave us feedback. This is just to give people who were unable to join us. This is like this was the main space, the main teepee where we all sat for the speaker sessions. It was a pretty epic space. So one of the questions we asked was, how likely are you to recommend SOFest to others? And sort of categorically, it was a yes. And what I am most excited about is this time last year, it was just me who had this vision of what SOFest could be. There are now 80 other people out there who can talk about it. They've had the felt lived experience, and that's many of you here. Murray, thank you for that little celebration. And that to me is like the biggest thing. Is like we've got 80 walking billboards now who can share their personal experience of what it was like and what they took from it. And the fact that people sort of said what they've said here is heartwarming. But here's some of the things that people said, what did you like? And I'm just going to slowly put these up so you can read them for yourself. Actually, I think some of you are listening. So people said, what did you like? Balance of stimulus, space to reflect, informal atmosphere, and great location. All of it. There's a lot of gushing that went on, and I'm genuinely very grateful for the gushing. I love the fact that this one says optional activities that I wouldn't normally do. And that was definitely something I wanted to bring. The intention and those who said yes, the fact that we had contracting a variety of speakers, workshops, and activities. I think this was interesting. That it was life affirming and supporting. Surpassed expectations. It was great to be surrounded by other facilitators and friends and bask in the magic of speakers, workshops, and the beautiful surroundings. Start to finish, it was very well organized. Were your expectations met? 97% said yes, 34 of you said yes, 1 said no. And I know exactly why the 1 was a no, because whilst it's anonymous feedback, when someone says something that they'd already said to me in the field, I know who that is. I'm cool with that. I'm not too bothered. What met your expectations? So this is some of these were quite interesting for me. So that was just kind. I wanted to come along and support you. The fact that there was the chance to connect. So this was a really big thing about creating SOFest the way we did. It's outside, it's in nature. It's a festival for the people, by the people, and the chance, the connection is so important, because that's, I think, a big point of difference to learning technologies or any of the big inside conferences that you can go to. They feel a lot more formulaic and sort of dark. So like here, setting, environment, the land, the flow. People is another big one that came up, that, you know, just the conversations. Again, I had this suspicion that it would work with the people who came into the room. And I was like, I'm pretty sure like we're going to get everything from laughter, intense conversation, serious conversation, hugs of joy, lots of tears. We had tears. Someone cried in the opening circle. I'm really happy. I have to say, I measure my workshops and if someone cries, because that just is a release of energy, it's a release of emotion, and that they feel safe to do so. That was like, I know that might sound weird to some of you, it's slightly perverse, but I think that's a good one. And then the opportunity to meet and learn different people from the freelance and facilitation world. And then that's the thing for generosity. So that was all great to hear that actually got hit. So things that didn't meet expectations. We've got an amazing producer for SOFest, and she runs festivals all the time. So Tony said to me, I can absolutely guarantee there'll be, at a minimum, two topics that people will tell you that they have feedback on: food, accommodation. She just said, just without a shadow of a doubt, it doesn't matter. You could do the best food, the best accommodation. There will always be criticism. There'll always be feedback. Guess what? That was the only thing that we got feedback on things that would be better. It was not what I was really surprised about. It wasn't the quality of the speakers or the quality of the workshop topics. It was nothing like that. It was just food and accommodation. So I'm like, okay, we'll take that. So I'll share some of the insights because they're fair. This one did make me laugh. So this happened a lot. People having to choose between the different workshops, because the workshops ran in 4 parallel sessions and you had to just make a choice. As this person says here, it's a good problem to have. This came up, which I hadn't foreseen, but it's a fair one. It comes up a lot that people want more space in the day, which is fine. I love that. Even for an extrovert, I need more space. Then people got very detailed. Some of the stuff I could deal with, I can do stuff about. Other things I have absolutely no control over. I did say there were no phone charging stations before we even arrived, so I think we can bring a power pack next time. Some people couldn't cope with a bed on the floor, even though it was all sort of kitted out. I love the fact there was a lot of love for the showers, and a lot of people wrote about wanting a squidgy thingamajiggy. I was like, okay, we fed that back to the site. This is very much not my style, which is giving out agendas. And it was interesting for a lot of people. They really wanted to have like a detailed agenda. And I'm a bit like, things change, which they did a lot. So I'm a bit like, I'm always curious, what is the need behind the need for the details? Whereas like, trust us, it's going to be okay. I don't know. Someone can write to me and tell me that. I like this one. They want more values and purpose-driven stuff. Don't know what the stuff is, but I quite like that as a, like, let's go deeper. And for those of you who are there, maybe that resonates. I don't know. Let's just pause there. So thoughts, any comments that anyone wants to throw in? Feel free to come off mute if you want to share anything. In the chat, it's like choice is part of any festival. Hey, Terry, feel free to put your voice in the room.
Hi there. I didn't get to go this year, but I would love to go next year, by the way. Other events that I've participated in and have been part of putting together, the people that want all the super, super fine cuts of detail usually have a control challenge in their personality.
Interesting. And I don't have a control challenge. I have a literally the exact opposite. And I realized that SOFest 25 is probably quite a mirror image of me. I really get that. So what you got was like, this was Kirsty's idea of fun, which isn't everybody else's idea of fun. I absolutely get that, team. So that's why we've got the trusted advisors and various different people in the team to, like, not overrule, but just like maybe even me out a little bit. Even me out. Murray, hi.
Hi, yeah. Well, my reaction to what you've just shown us is that these are fairly minor observations of things that haven't met people's expectations, and I think that's reflected in the fact that 97% of people said that it did meet their expectations.
Mm,
So a lot of this feedback is kind of fine tuning, and most of it's pretty positive. You know, there's not people that are saying the event didn't work or anything like
yeah,
that. They're just
exactly.
they come more as across as suggestions for improvement, and some of them are, you know, like putting a squeegee in the showers and adding a couple of sinks are fairly, you know, minor things to accomplish. So I think it should be viewed in the context of the 97% of people saying that their expectations were
Yeah.
met. That it's very positive to have so few um, comments that are hard to implement.
Yeah, I think a lot of them will carry on. We'll see that some more that definitely things can be and I've spoken to the site already. We had a debrief earlier this week and we've got lots of different ways to do fixes, so that's okay. We asked people what was their main reason for attending SOFest out of curiosity. I love the fact we gave 3 options and we still got lots of other, like 4 people had to write something different. So there was to connect with others was the primary reason. And there was second one was to invest in myself and my business. For 3 people, it was to gain inspiration. And then there was other ones, which were all like either all of the above, be there for Kirsty. I'm speaking or singing. We asked about how was the daily flow. So just right, 2 packed. And this is where it came out again, you know, just bordering on 2 packed. Again, if I just share out loud for those who weren't there. So imagine the invitation, if you wanted to, there was always something that happened at 7 in the morning. Breakfast was between 8 and 9 o'clock. Between 9, 10:30, there were 3 speakers. Then we went from like 10 to 11 to lunchtime. There was a workshop. In the afternoon, there was a series of workshops or activities that went through till about 4:30, and then 4:30 onwards, it was like free time again and activities. And then we had dinner together from 7 o'clock. Richard.
Well, first off, Kirsty, hats off and hugs, did it.
Yeah.
And I know there were lots of people supporting you, so they did it as well. I wasn't there. What I've heard from different angles though is something that was appreciated was the flow, and how things threaded together as well. So even if if I'm there, I'm not there. Apparently, there was a real flow through the day and a real flow through the several days. To which I was saying, it's almost like she knows how to design.
Yeah. God.
But apparently that was something that really stood
Okay.
out.
That's good.
Was a flow, and I don't think that should be taken for granted, because it's not.
Yeah.
Some events are just sort of, you know, thrown together with content, and
Yeah.
there was as I say, this thread and this flow, which apparently worked really well.
Oh my God, we've got in the chat box, Rich, they want to do a 4-day SOFest. Okay. Someone did come up with a really good suggestion though, and this is, I don't know what we do with it quite yet, that there is a day for, so the official festival finishes, say, at 2 in the afternoon, and then there's almost like people can leave if they wish, or there's like a deeper immersion just for a like a day and up to mid-morning, so people can go deeper if they wish, and it just really slows down again. I was like, oh, that's quite interesting. And so was it one of you who sent me this as an idea? Someone sent me that as an idea on LinkedIn that's happening at a legal fair. Oh, it's New Jones. I have a confession to make about the flow. So I invited everybody, like some of you are speakers who are here and the workshop hosts, and it was accidentally designed. And I literally, it only dawned on me when Claire stood up to do her talk. She was the last speaker, Claire here. And I went, oh yeah, she's definitely the right person to end on. Good God, what if I'd moved that around? That would have just been really weird. And Romy was definitely the right person to open us up. And the reason it just flowed the way it did was because some people said, please, 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 can I be on day 1? And some people could only do a certain day. And so that was some of my start points. And it just then all seemed to work out. So now my brain goes, well, next year, maybe you need to think about it and what could happen then. So I'm quite excited for that possibility. That's just me being very honest with the crew, as I normally am. Okay, let's continue on. Was anything missing? So people were saying, and again, there's some common themes you're now going to start to see. I needed more time to chat, connect and reflect. I want to do more. I want to rerun the work. Can you rerun the workshops? Someone said, can we have a workshop with more of a coaching feel? So the speakers, some of the speakers did workshops and some of them didn't. So there was this happened a couple of times. People said if they spoke, could they also do workshops? Someone suggested, could we have this kind of activity? And also a call for unpacking the craft of facilitation a bit more. So that's really good, rich ideas for 2026 for sure. So those will be coming forward. So thank you very much to those who gave us that kind of feedback. This is just one of the spaces that we had. So this is Kat and Hayley. This is Kat's activity. So this was one of the stretch tents, and it was just great because we had the weather. So we were really lucky. That was one question someone said to me is, if it had poured with rain, what would you have done? I think, so this is a tent that Ebony's in, doing one of her sessions for human design. This was a huge stretch tent. And I do think even if it was pouring with rain, you'd be okay under there. I genuinely do. Unless suddenly we've got horizontal rain in June, which I don't think you do. We asked the question, if we could improve for anything for next year, what could we do it? So some people were saying less choice and could you repeat? And I think they meant repeat the workshops. I'm going to come to that a bit later. Can you publish the details of the schedule so we can plan better? I'm not too sure what you want to plan. Again, feel free to message me if you're listening to this, because in my head, I'm not too sure what you would want to know in advance to plan, because it's a tiny festival. It's not like we've got 10 stages that you've got to go and choose from. It's literally the only time there's option is the 4 workshops. Can you record the sessions? Yes, if you'd like to sponsor the cost of the camera kit. Absolutely. So you're going to see this in a minute, the finances. These are lovely ideas, some of them, just really not at this point in the development of SOFest. I like this language, and we'll honor Neil Baker from Dark Angels. So he has a phrase, baggy spaciousness, which I thought was really lovely. So that's that bit about giving space for the internal processing. I don't know who said that, but that really made me laugh. Please, can we have some s'mores for the campfire? And some people, this was one, somebody kept going, can we have comfy chairs and bean bags? Again, there's a cost associated to bringing in extra chairs and extra kit. I can't do much about the weeds in the lake. That is just the way it goes, team, just the way it goes. We asked about the venue so we could give them some feedback. So overall, really good ratings for the venue. This was one of the campsite areas. And so there were either 1, 2, or 3 people in each of these tents. And this was our amazing campfire area. Tabitha and Craig got to know it very well. They were doing a lot of singing, as were many of you. And this is just a wider perspective. So that's the big TP tent to the left. This was one of the stretch tents we had, and you can just see in the background there the part of the accommodation. And if you could imagine where you're standing now, behind you would be more accommodation. And that's the main TP from a different perspective. How would you rate the location? We were just curious because Essex is just a strange, I think it's just a strange one because it is just off to the right of the UK. It's not central. So we were just curious, like, did that deter people? But apparently not. So people were okay with that. How do you rate the accommodation? 5 people were below average. So I'll take that on the chin. So we asked so this is the positives about the venue and the accommodation. I love this. I was surprised of the lack of insects. I was like, I don't know what I'd have done if there'd been lots of insects. You want me to run around with aerosol spray. It enhanced the event to another level and was great quality. This person loved it. They loved it. The staff were amazing. And interestingly, I'll just come off camera, back to camera. The staff gave feedback to Holly, who's the manager of the site, saying how much they loved us being on their site and how much they learnt, because they said they could hear some of the workshops and the talks. And they've even said to Holly, can we do it next year? And can we go and join in? So I want to share that with those of you who were there and who, if you were speaking or if you were running workshops, like the staff were really curious. And I don't think they get that happening very often, just because they actually made the point of telling us that bit of feedback. So I just want to say, yay us, like our stuff's interesting, even to a catering team, the bar team, the build team. So I just want to congratulate us. And I don't know if you find that when you're running workshops anyway, and people accidentally walk into your meeting rooms. Does anyone else have that? And they go, oh, this looks really interesting. And I'm like, you're welcome to stay. So that was good. I'm just reading. Yeah, much better than the wedding parties that they... Can you get a discount on the rates if we included them? That's a good question. I will ask. I will find out. Here is some of the feedback though on what, like, any other additional comments. So people said, I'd love to have been able to maybe go home at night and come back for breakfast. Absolutely. That, it didn't say anyway you couldn't do that. I know some people did, and I think Anne and Jackie had a lovely time. You'd come back, you'd go, come back. So next year, if you wish to do that, you can absolutely. Just, I think the thing, we'll make this really explicit, is the ticket includes your camping. If you choose to stay somewhere else, you don't get a discounted ticket. It's just, I cannot be doing the maths on that. It just gets way too complicated. This was an insightful bit of feedback. Basically, this is a set built site. We can't take down their tents. Well, we could take down their tents and rebuild it, but the cost of doing such would be prohibitive. See, look, the squidgies make a comeback. People want squidgies. I'm happy for that. I told the site this, they're happy for that as well. Local B&Bs, we could do that. Disparity in the tents. We've talked about this with the site. So what we're going to do is we can offer different variations for a cost, and we'll just get that set up. So if people want to have something different, they can. And this is fair as well. Like, can you change the towels in the toilet more often? And there were two sets of showers. We need to be more explicit about that. So there were the horse box and there was another big set of showers. I just don't know whether people realize that. Okay, we continue. How would you rate the food and the drink? So listen, people thought the food was excellent overall. So what I'm about to show you then makes me chuckle. So you've got to remember, these are the small bits. So what did you like? We had this big dining tent. I've already spoken to them about next year, because you'd have thought it was really hot when we were there. And I said on numerous occasions, can you open up this right-hand side of the tent? And they said they couldn't, because if you did, it whips up the wind and it's like this structure. So I said, look, we've got to do something different for next year, because it's just way too hot in there. The food was great. It was very healthy, which that was down to, I really wanted healthy food. I didn't want to serve beige food. Like we all talk about this, don't we, when we're in our workshops, how important it is to have quality food that's got energy associated with it. So here's some of the positive comments. What I found really interesting is quite a few people who have allergies. So this one here, I'm a celiac, and I felt really safe with the food. That felt really good. That people, vegans, vegetarians, the celiacs, all felt quite comfortable. There wasn't any food waste. That was another important thing. I thought breakfast was lush, and definitely on the last day, we had a party on the night before. Nothing extreme, but probably a bit more bubbles than normal. So there were bacon sandwiches, which were very well received by quite a few people, and sausage sandwiches. Yeah, the food was very colourful. Things that people wanted different, pay for snacks like crisps at the bar. So some of the portion sizes were too small for some people, and some people wanted more desserts. We can do that. It just has an impact on all the costings. I am thinking about going out to people who have already bought their ticket for next year, who were there this year, and say, who wants to be on the food committee, and let them make the decisions. I think that's just what I might do, and step away from it all. Ambitious to have everyone sat together for a barbecue. I don't know. I think the whole idea of having communal meals is a good one, because it means everyone can sit and talk. And it just, the food just came out as it came out. Bigger portions. Some people wanted more, even more healthy food. Large portions. When I looked at who was saying this, it was often the guys that I could see. So, and actually the site said sometimes when you have a lot of men are often like, no, we need something bigger. I mean, chaps, I just went back and got seconds because there was always left over. So you can do that. This one was interesting. I thought at the time that portions were a little on the small size, but I also recognize I have some weird scarcity lack mindset and worry about not having enough to eat. Totally unfounded. So I love that person has done a whole 360 on their thinking, which is kind of sweet. So all of this is like fixable. Doesn't really worry me. Right, let's just pause. Any thoughts on what you want to share? Just looking at all your Emma. Yeah, my dad's cake. I have said to Dad he's making cake again next year. So basically, I said to my dad, can you make cake? Because I was arriving the night before the setup, and there was lots of my dad. You asked my dad for a cake. We got 4. He's a feeder. He's a big feeder. So obviously I rocked up then with like 3 cakes, and we just chopped them all up into little portions. He did answer our FaceTime though. He did come on. He was a bit confused by it all. I love the fact, I'm really curious, why are all the men speaking and none of the ladies? Intrigued, very intrigued. Murray.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe your dad could chair the food committee next year. What I wanted to say though was that again, they're very minor comments, and I was one of the people who commented that I felt like there wasn't enough food. But on the Tuesday, I didn't have enough to eat, but the barbecue on the Wednesday night, there was so much food that it was hard to finish it. So
right,
there was that kind of variability. But again, it's not like I mean, look at me. It's not like I'm starving. So having a bit less to eat wasn't the end of the world. It's just I think these are fairly minor comments.
Yeah.
If the portions were small, the quality of the food was absolutely outstanding. It was fantastic, and the catering team were doing an amazing job. And they produced some very good food, and every meal was different as well. So I think your objective to avoid beige food was achieved in spades. It was great.
One of the big learnings we had as well is we'd asked everyone before they arrived to complete a form to tell us their specific needs and requirements in life, including food. So we'd had a clear list of who were the veggies, celiac, gluten-free, but that kept changing. Suddenly it came out the woodwork. People suddenly came to us, and I didn't realize this was happening. So it was handled as I'd asked. I didn't need to know that kind of stuff. But the catering staff said to us that list got revised quite a few times. So I'm not too sure how you say to people, if you know you've got a food allergy or you're a celiac or something that's really important, you've got to tell us in advance, because apparently the catering team even had to go out and buy some food to meet some people's requirements, which we didn't know about in advance. So I don't quite know how to say to someone, or to a community, you've got to tell us this stuff. Don't be embarrassed. Otherwise you are not going to eat potentially.
Yeah, it was, and it was also interesting that there was a lot of vegan food left that was what was left. So I don't know if there were vegans who converted to meat eaters during the festival.
I don't know. It was all a bit weird.
But again, it's like it's not like people who aren't vegans can't eat vegan food.
Yeah.
And the falafel bowls were and the hummus wraps were absolutely amazing. So
I know.
it's not a complaint.
I'm very conscious of the time. I know Ravi and Harry, you've got your hands up. Are they short questions or comments, and could they be written in the chat? Because I want to get to the finances, which I think some people might find insightful. Some answers to this one. So here are some key people that I just want to acknowledge, like roles. So we had the workshop hosts. So we got Kat and Marjorie here. So we had 15 workshop hosts, and they all delivered a between 75 and 90-minute session. And I just want to say a massive thank you to all of them for stepping forward. People have said, why don't you repeat these workshops and like have less choice? And the reason for that is these people are here to participate and be part of the festival as well. If they are there to do a speaker slot, run their workshop 3 times, they're going to expect to be paid. Now, we can do that, but that will then get reflected in the price of the ticket. So I just want to say a massive thank you to those who stepped forward and were our workshops. And there won't be repetition of the workshops next year, for sure. There will still be the FOMO. These are the amazing speakers. So Claire, thank you. Making us all cry at the end. That was awesome. Very good way to end. But again, I'm really pleased that the speakers all said yes and answered that call. These amazing people in the bottom left, these are the volunteers. So the volunteers, Liz, Esther, Kirsten, Joe, Lizzie, Phil, and Danny were absolutely amazing in that they sort of were running around in the background all the time. So they're there to welcome you, show you your tents, answer questions, basically get shit done. And then this lady on the left-hand side, I just want to acknowledge her role as well. Her name is Tony, and she's the festival producer, project manager. And she and I worked together from this time last year, basically, to bring this alive. And I think without her, she did a lot of the heavy lifting on the day-to-day basis. And I'll talk a bit more about it on the finances, but she did all the liaison with the site, the suppliers, chasing people down. Like, she guided us on a lot of the forms, how to do impact tickets. So I just want to acknowledge all these amazing like roles and people. So thank you. But also this group, the community. So those who came, like, we knew that the people make these events. So yes, we can curate a good flow. Yes, we can bring in great food. We've got a beautiful site. But what I found amazing is just the openness of the group, just to go with what we were putting up in front of them. So these photos are from the opening circle, and it's quite ironic because like we're in raincoats here. We had umbrellas up, as you can see, bottom right photo. But by the end of by Thursday, we're all absolutely sweltering hot, walking around in shorts and t-shirt and the most minimal amount of clothing that was allowed. I also wanted to say a thank you as well. So I put a shout out on LinkedIn if anyone had a catch box, and lots of people said, oh yeah, talk to so-and-so, and no one came forward except Catchbox themselves did. And they emailed me and said, do you want to have a conversation? So they emailed me, say Monday night at 7 o'clock. By Tuesday morning at 10:15, they said, we'll give you a Catchbox and brand it. So this was an absolute godsend, and we've got the kit. They've let us keep it. So they gave us, so this is like a microphone that you throw around. So we had a lot of fun with that. And also we had branded clip mics and a handheld, which I just want to say a massive thank you. We also had sponsorship from Neuland and Inky Thinking. So we had marker pens, we had pads, we had bags, and that was really great to be able to give people that gift. Dr. Gwen Wilkie also gave everybody a pencil, which if you've still got your pencil, go and plant it. The tip, the green bit at the end, is seeds. So thank you to her, and also to Rhiannon for Harrison Consultancy. They sponsored a leaflet. And then we had the view from the Lou Gang. We had Kim Ellis's L&D Free Spirits, Wallace Space, and Giraffe Pad. So it was good to have all of this, and it was good. It just added a bit more noise, but I think there's more room for next year, but it's just how far we go with that without it starting to feel slightly off. And I'm not too sure what to do. The other thing we did, which I'm really proud of, is we had impact tickets. So we had 7 impact tickets. So an impact ticket was positioned as a ticket for someone who wouldn't normally be able to come to an event like this. So under 30, in a minority, just literally starting out in this world. And so we did that as an application process. But we also then had we had 5 people who bought tickets just outright as impact partners. So I just want to name them and say a big thank you. So Jed Futter he was straight in the door at number 1. And he was like, I've been looking for a way to support you, Kirsty. So Jed's part, his business is called The Retail Mind. So if you're in the FMCG world, go give him a listen and a watch. Then came in Mark Cranston from Total Negotiation. So thanks, Cranny. Jodie Rogers from Symbia, Nathan Dring and Associates, thank you. Elaine Gosden from Blue Gnu, and those were the 5 that bought outright. But then what absolutely blew my head up is other people just gave money. So I just want to name these people. So Patrick Cowden couldn't come, so he gave a very big chunk of cash. So thank you. And Naomi Graham gave a very big chunk of cash. I really appreciate that, as did Tess Cope. And then Nadine Singler couldn't come this year. She said, can I donate some money? I was like, of course. Caroline Boyd, Maury Cowell, Hayley Brackley, Amy Reynolds, Melanie Koshot, Liz Porsey, Sonali, Alan Snehar, Alice Lee Havel, Joanna Riddott, Nick Barr, Rich Bellas, and AMC. So I just want to say thank you to all of you that you donated some money, because it gave 7 people the opportunity to come, which was utterly incredible. Now, here's a learning though. 2 people pulled out last minute, and I was like gobsmacked. I was like, that's rude. And then I spoke to one of the younger receivers of the impact ticket, Lou, and she and I have talked about what to do for next year. So we're going to make it an even more rigorous process. I was like, I even feel like I need to take a deposit and say they get it back. She said they don't it's back to this whole thing. If people get something for free, they think it's easy to drop. And whether that's like a £50 something or £1,500 something. And she said, Lou was really clear. I think we need to be really explicit, the value of these tickets, and like, not just what you're getting, but what you can gain. So, and the annoying thing is though, they dropped out too late. So we couldn't get another person, or we couldn't do anything in terms of save some of the money, because everything had been sort of paid for and spent. So that was just a bit gutting. A token fee. Interesting, Kathleen, have that conversation with you. Okay, firing on through. Let's talk about money. Oh, right. Going to give you some time to look at this. Basically, this is the income that was generated. £79,000, £79,027 and 5 pence. Random, I know. But that is what we generated through ticket sales, day passes, the solo tents. But I've realized I need to take that down, that number. That's not correct, because I had to pay for them. I wanted to show you the monthly transactions. This is why my heart rate was going up and down the whole fucking time for 12 months. So what you're seeing here, Laura Thompson, she is that red dot far left. I don't know how she managed it. She bought a ticket in September. I am absolutely bemused how that happened. I think she found that the website was already live and she discovered it. This big peak at the end of November basically is when we'd finished selling early bird tickets. And by that point, 33 people had either bought their ticket whole or were on the payment plan. So what you then see is this is like December, January, February. Those are like payment plan amounts or pay in 2. That's why it dips there. In January, we did birthday tickets. 3 people bought 3 of the 5. And then as we go into March, what you're seeing is these were some of the impact tickets being bought, hence a little rise. And then obviously, as expected, it totally drops off. There was one payment in July to finish off. So this is just the pattern that you see when you sell tickets. I just think it's useful to be aware of. I think it's good for my brain to see it, that there'll be this big hit and then it basically just tanks. So if anyone's got ticket selling strategies, feel free to give me those. Now, I am going to share all of this with you, and I've said it all the way along. I'm really happy to show you what the costs are, because so many people said to me, oh, can't you save money? And I'm like, no, because if I did that, you're not going to eat. So basically, the cost to put on the festival was £91,660.43. And here are the big numbers that you need to know. So site hire, tents and food is £50,000 from the off. Salaries, again, you might go, why? So to have a festival producer, project manager, you can see Tony's salary there, just under 30K. Emily, social media manager, we need social media. She did all the newsletters, just over 2,500. And then my finance manager sorting out the finances left, right, and center as people then go, oh, I've used the wrong information. Oh, that's not actually the email address I want to use. Oh, can I change this, this, and this? So that's why we've got those salaries there. I'd like you to also notice there's no salary for Kirsty. I took nothing on this. I've not been paid at all for putting this on. So it's not a woe is me, but I think you just need to be aware this is what's going on. You can see we didn't have lots of fripperies. And what I mean by that is high expenses on site decorations, £55. You could argue the volunteer t-shirts could be cheaper, but hey, we're talking by 100 quid. I invested in a videographer, a photographer, because we know we want to make that big noise and impact for next year. The insurance you have to have, there's absolutely nothing you can do about that. So there isn't, and then we've got admin costs in Stripe, which is the payment system that we use. There's just nothing you can do about that. So I have to sort of take that on board because that's the easiest way to do it versus raising lots and lots and lots and lots of invoices. So that's the cost to serve. So what that meant is there was a loss of £12,633.38. At one point it was 28K, which really was freaking me out, as some of you know. And so I'm glad we got to where we did in this instance. And I think the biggest reason that there was that loss was my fear, because I priced the early birds at 1,100, and in reality, they probably should have been higher, because I haven't done the maths on it, and it wouldn't have been enough to close that gap of 12,000, even if I did it at 1,200. So that was one thing. Another one was it is one of those events you have to sell the tickets. So if we'd had 90 people, it would have just tipped over and it would have been break even. So that 12,000, when I just divided that by a ticket of 1,500, it's just over 8 tickets. But as someone said to me, I think you did all that you could to sell the tickets that you did. So I'm always curious, because a lot of people kept going to me, but surely you can save money. I'm like, surely I cannot. And I'm a commercial person. I've got a commercial background, but I've also got a massive raging fear that no one will come, hence put it at a cheaper price. So I'm very open to anyone helping me think it through for next year in terms of what would you do differently, because I'll share these slides and you're going to have access to the video, so you can definitely go and interrogate it. So I'm always intrigued. Yeah, and a lot of people said that year one, you never make a profit. I don't think I was even wanting to make a profit. I just think 0 would have been nice. Now, the other thing as well, I'm a limited company, and so my corporation tax will get slightly lowered, but not a lot. But I also, to cover that 12K, that's me running maybe 2 big projects for a client, minus all my team's salaries. So there is that. A line of sponges. Yeah, that's what we could do for sure. I don't know if that'll work. So let's carry on through some thoughts I had about the monies. So this is me playing around with the finances for next year. So if the attendees stay exactly the same and I increase the ticket price just even by £100, there would still be a loss of £5,000. That's just something so that says to me, you know, there is a critical mass needed here. But if we had 100 attendees and a ticket price increase that I've already instigated anyway, there could be 24K. But it's the 100 attendees. It's like, how do we move the dial from 80 to 100? This is where my walking billboards, I'm hoping, even if they all brought a friend with them, would make a really big difference. Good news was if I said to people like, would you attend again? 77% said yes. Now you might go, but 23% have said maybe. When I looked at the comments behind the maybes, interestingly, someone was like, you know, I've retired. So this was just like my last hurrah. A couple of people said, I already have got working on those dates. I can't do it. So that's fair enough. Someone's like, it's clashing with the school GCSEs or A levels. I've got to be at home that year. That's nothing you do about that. Some people said, you know, it's a choice between a paid holiday, a working holiday, or a holiday. So everyone had like a really clear rationale. It wasn't because it was fucking awful and I don't want to come back again, if that makes sense. So it felt very tangible, the reasons for not being able to come next year. So looking forward to 2026, here are some of my initial thoughts. I need to value the tickets appropriately. There is a 10-month payment plan on the early bird. So the early bird tickets will go on sale on the 1st of September. Do we get a headline sponsor? Interestingly, trying to sell this kind of event into sponsors, they're not interested like the people I thought would be. So again, if you are in the sponsorship world and you're watching this and you want to get involved, give me a shout. Probably move the day tickets to Wednesday. I think that will work. One bit of feedback that I thought was really interesting is for various reasons, some of the speakers and the workshop hosts couldn't be with us the whole time. However, when they did arrive, they said it felt really strange not to have been there the whole time. And some people commented who were the participants, it would be better if they were there the whole time. So that's going to be a bit of a rule. If you're going to join us as a speaker or a workshop host, you're in, basically. Create more space for connection in the agenda. I'm going to put a reflection point in on day 3. And part of me is thinking about bringing in corporates. So because I didn't talk to any corporate training teams this year. So that is a possibility as well. Because quite a few of my clients who knew about it then said, oh, we would come. So I was like, oh, okay. We asked people, what would you say to those, to someone who might be considering attending SOFest 26? So I just let you take a moment to have a read. All very positive. Do it. Don't hesitate. Just book that ticket. I love that. Your soul will thank you. If you want practical business tips mixed with nourishment for your soul, go to SOFest. So there you go, team. This was the wonderful group who came and joined us this year, who trusted themselves, who trusted their instincts to sign up for a festival that had never existed 12 months prior. And they got their all. So there you go. That is the debrief. Those are my thoughts around SOFest. If anyone has got any questions or noticings, you are really, really welcome to put your voice. I've never used the heart reaction so much in an hour in a Zoom room. Thanks, Kate. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to put your voice in the room. Could mentors and coaches? Yeah, coaches were invited. other questions coming up in the chat. Can you have day tickets on 2 different days? I'm not going to do that, Craig. 1, complexity. 2, the people who were there for the opening day said it felt too light for them. I think if they came on the closing day, it just won't make any sense. Like, the connections are all built, and they're there then for that bit in the afternoon where we're all saying goodbye to each other, and they're probably a bit like, yeah, but I've only just met you. So I think it makes sense to stick it to day 1. No, a notable family birthday. I'm not going to do single night options. I doubt that, Harry, just because the complexity of sorting it all out, unless you bring your own tent. That might be an option for sure, if you want to bring your own tent. Social validation. Yeah, Esther, it was very noisy on LinkedIn. I absolutely agree. Yeah, exactly, Anne. If 25% of us could bring 1 extra person, that would totally cover it. Can you have a mini virtual SOFest event? So I did think of doing that, Ravi, in November, digital SOFest, and part of me still thinks of doing that. It's just weighing up the costs of the time and the effort to bring that alive, and I think it is possible with a cost associated. So yeah, Terry, what's the ideal capacity? I think 100 would be good. Cool. I'm gonna say thank you to everyone who's been watching this on YouTube and on the playback. If you've been watching it on playback and you've got any questions or you've got any thoughts or considerations, feel free to drop into my email, or if you've got my telephone number, feel free to not ring me, but WhatsApp me. That would be the right thing to do.